Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. So today's video, I'm going to show you how this thing works. How to heat more with your HEATMOR. First of all, I'm going to show you kind of roughly how this thing works, and then I'm going to show you the pros and cons, tell you the pros and cons on what I believe are the benefits and the downfalls of owning one of these machines. So this is what the stove looks like naturally manufactured. You've got your front door there. There's a little light there, so when you're filling it at night, you got a nice light. We're gonna go in, we're gonna open this up here. Don't worry, everything's safe. Inside, there's the firebox door there. So that's the door I'm telling you about. That's 24 by 24. It's 2 feet by 2 feet. There's a thermostat up here, which you can see is very black, very charred. We are at 90 degrees Celsius. Should be about 180. The Fahrenheit's on the inside. Yeah, we're actually about 190 Fahrenheit. Yeah, it should be standing up straight. But this is the thermostat. So on the back here, this thermostat, this is all water. That whole tank, everything here, it's all water. It's a big cell on either side, on this side and on that side, and all above it. That's all full of water. And then there's insulation on the outside walls and on top, around all the way to the bottom. And then the floor of the actual stove there's a grate on the bottom, so you can auger out the ash from the back, which I will show you. But then the sides are filled with sand as an insulation barrier. Now there's also a little switch here, so that when you are filling the stove and the fan is on, there's a little fan down in here. Here, I'll show you the fan. There's the little fan, just a tiny little fan. That's what feeds this stove oxygen so that the fire burns the material that you have in there. Now, when that fan's not on, it's just coals. It's just coals. Everything is black, ready to burn, but it's just coals. When that fan kicks on, the fire rips and roars. Now the fan only kicks on when the thermostat tells it the water's not hot enough. So this particular thermostat, you're able to set it for a high and a low. The high I have set at 180, and then when I want the fan to turn back on when the water cools down, is at 175. Now it has it in sets of increments of 5. So you want it to be 5 degrees lower and you want it to turn back on, you set it for 5. You can set it for 10, 15, 20, 25, whatever you want. Also, you can set your high temperature in there too. It doesn't have to be 180. Doesn't have to be. Or 190. Mine's at 190 or something like that. Now I have my water set at 190 because by the time it does the transfer of heat over and whatnot and the pipeline and all that kerfuffle, it works out to be just the right temperature that I need it to be in the barn. That's why I bought this thing. I bought this thing because out here where I am, it's either hydro or propane, and propane is expensive. Something I did not want to start. It was going to cost me roughly $10,000 by the time you get the tank, fill the tank, get the hot water heaters all hooked up in the barn and running. It was going to be around the 10 grand. Now I bought this thing for $1,000 off of a Kijiji ad. The biggest expense when I bought it was the piping that goes underneath the ground. I will show you that in a minute. But to go from propane, natural gas was out of the question. It's about 3 kilometers up the one road and like 10 the other way. It would have costed me hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring it out. Would never have paid in my time, probably not even in my kids' time, but it wasn't really worth it for me. So that's why we went with this unit. Now, she is a pig. I'll go into that a little bit deeper shortly. Now this is the back of the unit. It's got a door like it does on the front, but this one's got like a little key fob here. It's not really a key thing. You need a screwdriver to unhook it. And then you can see what I'm talking about. All these different things, you know, it's not a pressurized vessel. It's non-pressurized, it's just gravity flow filled. There's another thermostat back here so that if the front one doesn't turn off, this one kills all power if the water reaches too high of a temperature. So what I'm talking about, the water cell, these are the exhaust. This is where the chimney is. Like this is the chimney that comes out. But there's two pipes here. There's one here. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, there you go. One here and one there. And there's water all around them. So that's how you can get the heat all the way. This water jacket goes all the way up. So all the heat from the fire is getting absorbed by all the water. Now, you have to take that water and you got to bring it to your house or to your shop or something, right? So the water gets pumped out of the bottom, believe it or not, pumped out of the bottom and back into the top. Now this water is still very hot. Now I have two pumps here. These are the circulation pumps. All they do is pump the water from here to the barn and back again. That's all it does. These pumps here cost me $5 a month to run one. So $10 to take heat from here and bring it to the barn or bring it to the house. That's pretty cheap, if you ask me. And here's the pipe I'm talking about that goes to the grate in the bottom of the stove. This is where you take your ash out. You just pull these little screws off. It comes with a nice little auger handle crank thing there. You slide that right in there. I put a little bucket underneath here and then just auger it all out into the bucket. Those are my pipes. Yes, they're not very weatherproofed, but it still does a trick. Now for me to go from my unit here to the barn, we were roughly 80 feet, I think, of hose, which cost me around the $3,000. It's about $1,650 a foot. Now, this pipe is incredible. You can stick this stuff on the ground, snow can land on it, and you can have 190-degree water in it, and you will not see the pipe. The snow will cover it, and you won't even know it's there. That's how well insulated and how good this pipe is. You pay for it, but, I mean, think about it. If you're constantly throwing wood in that thing because you didn't insulate the pipe, and you look out your window in the winter and you see a nice green strip of grass and everything else is white, you know where your heat's going. Now for those of you who watched one of my other videos about my wood stove and I told you you weren't using it properly, that's because you probably don't have one of these. Now, let me flip around here over here for a second. That's what it looks like from the side. That is what they call a plate exchanger. What is a plate exchanger? So, these pipes here, this one and that one, let's follow them down. There's that black pipe I was telling you about. That's it. That line is really hot. But that's that black pipe I'm telling you about. That's $16.50 a foot. That's what runs underneath the ground. That's the good stuff. Anyways, these lines here, they come from and go to the wood stove. They come up and they exchange the water. These are not connected, but they exchange the water. So cold water comes from my pump, comes from that way, comes from pump through here, down, out, gets pumped through. I got another pump, that's pump number 3. goes into my hot water tank, and then just keeps going back through if I don't need it. If I need it, it gets pulled up, drawn through, out to the barn for all my needs. Now, the plate exchanger was $350. Okay? So for $350, I can heat all my hot water in the house, in the barn. Your wash water, your sink, your shower, your in-floor heat, all that stuff is because of this. If you just had these lines, you're more prone and likely to put in the furnace rad, which I will show you what the furnace rad is, what I'm talking about. But this plate exchanger allows me to run all those. Now, talk about saving money on your heat hot water bill. Now you don't have to have a hot water tank. So yes, this is this is an electric hot water tank. I initially had these in here when I first got started here on the farm. I had two of them. One of them has since put a hole in itself. So, but right now they're just reservoir tanks. That's all they are. It just holds the water for me. A propane tank, there's lines in them, loops in them. Doesn't hold as much water as what I prefer to have. I would actually like to have both of them, but I don't. Now, electric hot water tanks are not stainless tanks. So you are going to get rust and all that other crap build up, which I'm looking to build my own tank. All it is a reservoir tank. I just got to keep the heat in it. So I make a stainless tank. I got a tap that goes in. I got a tap that comes out. And I got a release of hot pressure. So these things here are made to blow off at boiling point. So when the water reaches boiling point, this thing is gonna squirt and let out pressure because it's too hot. Mine goes off a lot. Not here in the barn, but the one in the house goes off all the time. I got a hot pipe to it, goes right to a drain because it goes off when the stove reaches its peak temperature. It blows off a lot. Now you can also see I got a couple more pumps here. That's 4 and 5. I've got 5 of these pumps. And here's number 6 up here. You can see right there. That's for the in-floor heat for in the parlor. Now you've seen that already before. Down in the pit there, I have all my in-floor heat lines so that it's dry down there. We like to wash it a lot in the winter just to keep it nice and clean. In this particular room, this is how I'm able to heat the barn, is with in-floor heat. Now in-floor heat is very cost effective, especially when you have one of those things, because as much wood as you throw in, that's how much heat you're going to get. The nice thing about in-floor heat also, I'm going to explain, is it's radiant heat. So the floor's warm, the air's warm. It's just very hard to control. You cannot just be like, oh hey, it's hot in here, I'm going to turn the thermostat down. It doesn't work that way. It's going to be radiating for a few days before it starts to cool down. Unless, you open up all your windows, which that's what we do. If it gets hot, just open the windows. We don't turn the in-floor heat off. But you got to find that niche spot that you like to be at before, it's too hot or it's too cold. Now, for those of you skeptics that don't believe that my water is really all that hot, you gotta let it warm up here. Do you see the steam already? And look at what it does to my water line when it's hot. Makes all funny loop-de-loopies. This is the rad I was telling you about that goes in the furnace. It's just a regular rad, okay? It's like your car rad, it's like a tractor rad, it's any machine that you see that's got to cool the water down to keep it cool. It's essentially what it is. This is just made by HEATMOR or by the people that they deal with, that it fits perfectly in your furnace. Yes, the intake for your furnace, that's this big. It fits right in there. My furnace guy, well, I haven't talked to him yet, but I want him to come back and I want him to put this in. Now I will explain why when we get more further into the house. I'll explain why I want to put this in. As long as we still have the in-floor heat, but I want this in as well. And I'll explain why. Now, this thing here is built to come straight from your wood stove. You don't use the plate exchanger and then go to this. Well, I mean, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it. You want this to come straight from the stove. And then it's got an intake and an outline. That's it, done. You just hook that pipe up. So those of you who just want this for your furnace, don't want it for your hot water in the house, all you need is this. You just run that line from the thing right to your furnace. You're done, you're in business. Way to go. Okay, so in the house here, I have everything is in-floor heat, right? This is all in-floor heat. This is a nice big room. But so, to show you the different reasons why. Now up here in our house, our ceilings that go upstairs from the main floor to the second floor, we insulated these to keep the sound, because, you know, we like to party because we're still young down here. We like to party, but our kids, our lovely kids, they need to sleep, right? So we put the sound insulation in. Now upstairs it's a lot colder than it is down here, and this is where the heat is. So that's why I want to put the rad in upstairs. As the fan turns on and cycles everything, I want it to keep the upstairs warm as well. Just having the fan circulating, it doesn't do the trick. Not near as well. Now this floor, the in-floor heat, we have 6 lines. Let me show you. These are the 6 loops. Now I know you guys see 7 taps, but that's just an extra one that we use to fill the system with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Now they are all on a pressured system. It's been holding pressure since last winter. That's good. Look, guys, there's pump number, I forget now. I think it's like number 8 or something like that. Pump number 8. That's just to cycle the in-floor heat. I don't use that for anything else. Again, here comes my line that comes from the wood stove. You can see it. That's what it's supposed to look like again. 2 lines coming out. I have another plate exchanger here to exchange the heat so that my tap water comes in here. Now this unit here, this is just a tank. Not a hot water tank, just a tank. Oh, look, pump number 9. Pump number 9 circulates the water in the tank through the exchanger, back out again, and runs in sync with the other side so that I'm constantly have the same heat in here as I do in the stove. It's all the same. It's just as hot here as it is out there. Excellent, excellent setup. Now this one here has a stainless loop on the inside. There, you can see it there and there. There's a loop inside that absorbs the heat from the tank, water tank, and that's what I use for my in-floor heat lines, because you don't want to contaminate. This water is all stale now, right? It's been in there all summer long, hasn't been turned, it's filthy, it's yucky, it's dirty. I don't want that coming out of my tap. That's not good. So that's why it's on a completely separate loop. I don't have to worry about anything rotting in there because that's all stainless. Everything in there is stainless. Now, this is a 40-gallon hot water tank. I believe it's 40. I think it's 40 gallon. The one in the barn is a 60-gallon. This tank here, though, cost me $2,000 just for the tank. But it should last a lifetime. Now, for those of you who understand kind of where I am from a little bit, you know how important it is to stay warm and cozy in your house. And my family is nothing but the most important for me. So we like to keep my wife Kendra here and our little baby Renee. It's important to me to keep them warm and cozy here in home. So, you know, if it's nice and warm in my house, oh yeah, Sadie, she's outside. It's important to me that my family is comfortable and provided for with their needs of being nice and warm. She may not like how nice and warm I like to keep it, so she opens the windows. I'd rather her open the windows and say, honey, it's too cold in here. So that's why we have our HEATMOR. Okay, so we're just gonna open it up here. It's not on or anything. And we're gonna kind of show you what it looks like inside. See how it's just glowing coals? No flames or nothing. It's just a round box. There's your pipes that go up for the exhaust, for the smoke. They go up and then they go across, like you've seen before. They go across nicely. But yeah, this is what the firebox looks like inside. Fill her nice and full, nice and round, 3 feet deep. Just smash her against that back wall. Works great. Yeah, so it's a little bit later here at night here. Kind of messed up a few things, but yeah, to go over the pros and cons of owning one of these stoves, okay? Pros, it's like unlimited heat. Your cost stays relatively the same. Like I said, those pump use $5 a month. If you have the heat at 180 or you have it at 100, it doesn't really make a difference on cost other than how much wood you got to use, right? That's the big kicker. The higher or the more you have use on it, that is going to be where your cost is. Now, your cost for the wood, if you have the trees, then it's really not a very big expense because it's just, you know, a few dollars in gas and, you know, chains, sharpening your chains, the chainsaw, it's really not much. Those are, that's just a few little things. I mean, there's many to go over, yeah. Now, you don't have to have a big honking sucker like this if you don't want to. Like for me, the amount that I use this thing for, I should have one that's 4 times this size. But I can make it work. I'm home all the time. My work is right here, right? I mean, there's the barn, and here's my unit. It doesn't make sense for me to have a big giant one. Now, it does in the long term if I wanted to, because then I could stick bigger objects in there. It works nicer that way, but I don't have to have it. That's just a big one. Now the cons, the downside of having one of these units, okay? You gotta fill it on those blistery, wintry, cold, 5 feet of snow kind of nights or days. You gotta get out and you gotta fill this thing. Now, I know sometimes it doesn't seem like much, but let me tell you, if it's, you know, even in the pouring rain for me, right? I use it all year round. If it's gonna be raining outside, I gotta have this thing full. So I'm gonna be in the rain, working in the rain. Now, I don't have a shelter doodad thingy. You can build some cool stuff over top of it. That's no big deal. I just haven't had the time or the materials just to do that. Also, I would want it big enough so that I can put a big bunch of wood in there, you know, push it in with the tractor or something. But I have a tendency of breaking things very easily. So if I build just some cheap wood shelter, I'm probably gonna break it before I actually get good use out of it. So that's why I haven't exactly designed anything yet. Also, another con to this is that pipe. Like I explained before, it's $16.50 a foot. If you got to go 100 feet, like that's a lot of money. It's not cheap. It works great. Believe me, like I said, you can lay that pipe on the ground and there'll be snow on it all winter long. That's how well insulated it is. Also, for me, this thing's a pig on wood. I've said it a million times, it's a pig. I got a 6x10 dump trailer. Level on the top, full, is around 2 face cord. Now, I know an actual cord of wood is 4x4x8. I think I can get about that on the trailer, and in the winter I will go through that in 1 week. So if you had to buy 4 face cord at $80 a cord to get that, 4 times 8, that's $320 a week. Now yes, propane is a lot cheaper than that. You're right. But I get the wood for free. A jerry can of gas, what's a jerry can of gas, right? 10 liters, that'll last me a long time on cutting wood. If I got a saw going all day running full out, I don't even think I'll go through that. But let me tell you something, I can cut a lot of wood off of 10 liters of gas, even if gas is $2, just $20 on gas. $20. Chainsaws, you don't need a massive chainsaw. You can have just a little itty bitty little one like I do. I got a little 16-inch saw. Cost me $250 to buy the saw, and $20 in gas. For $500 a year, if I gotta buy a new saw and the gas, I got heat. I got a lot of heat, right? It's just time. Time is a big one. You gotta take the day, you gotta go out, you gotta cut that wood. It's not something everybody wants to do all the time when it's in the middle of the summer or in the middle of the winter. But, you know, you gotta weigh all these options out for yourself. I had to come back inside here because it's getting pretty dark outside, and I want you to see me. Not that it's really that important, but you don't specifically have to buy a HEATMOR like I have. There are very many different kinds. They're all built differently because, you know, they're copyrighted and all that stuff, fun jazz. So you don't have to buy one. They all work fairly similar to each other. So if you're like me, if I went on Kijiji for a good deal, or Facebook Marketplace, those kind of places, Craigslist, you know, that might be the way to go. You just got to look at it, right? Make sure it's in good shape yet. No leaks. It's a big one. No water leaks. But I really do hope that you guys learned something from this video. If you're interested in getting one or thinking about it, I hope I helped you out. If you have any questions, by all means, please, I'm more than happy to help you, answer any questions you might have, or show you, kind of guide you somewhat a little bit. I'm more than willing to help. You can write in a comment, you can send us an email, whatever works for you. If you know of somebody that might be looking into one of these, or has one already and doesn't quite know if they're using it right, again, let them watch the video. If they still have questions, please contact me and we'll get everything sorted out for you. Thanks for watching, and if you have not subscribed already, please do. Thank you, and God bless.